In yet another, quote, surprise to Boris Johnson, and we use the surprise, we use the term surprise somewhat liberally, because this is a government who knows things are coming, knows that deadlines are fast approaching, knows that the road is about to end and they either need to turn off, stop the car, or slow down and turn around and do something, that they are surprised when something happens. For example, last night, Boris Johnson and the Internal Market Bill was defeated in the House of Lords, and we're going to go over that very quickly. But here's the thing. This and the government is saying that, oh wow, it's such a surprise, such a surprise, such a surprise. And you're like, hold on. You do realise that the Lords have been very, very clear that if you intend that if the Tories were intent on passing and Parliament were intent on passing this bill into the Lords, that they would defeat it if it meant breaking international law. This is it's unbelievable, but once again, this is where we are. We are in a government who just seems surprised when other people, when they say, we're going to do this, and then the response is, well, if you do that, we are going to do this, and then act surprised when the other party tells them what they were going to do. So anyway, let's go over what happened in the Lords last night then. Oh. Hang on. There we go. Da-da-da. Sorry about that. So, this actually comes from the Metro. This is actually the first place I saw it last night. So, Boris suffers crushing defeat over plan to break international law on Brexit. The government has suffered defeat in the House of Lords over its Brexit legislation that enables ministers to break international law. Peers backed a, quote, regret amendment, considering disputed positions in the UK Internal Market Bill by 395 votes to 169, with a majority of 226. So this was pretty soundly defeated, as the Lords always said that they would. So even Boris, at the beginning of the year, appointing all those extra Lords, didn't even do anything. So, with peers vowing to reject the disputed parts of the UK Internal Market Bill, it sets the scene for a showdown between the unelected Chamber and the Commons, and a likelihood of prolonging Parliament and a prolonged game of parliamentary ping-pong, whereas legislation is passed between the two houses. The Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Webley, and former Commons Speaker, Baroness Boothroyd, and Conservative former leader, Lord Howard of Lampy, I think that's how you say it, were among the many in the upper house to criticise the bill, which has already cleared the Commons despite opposition from some senior Tories. The legislation sets out the way the trade within the UK will work once it is outside the EU's single market and customs union, but also contains powers which gives ministers the opportunity to override the Brexit divorce deal, something the government has acknowledged would breach international law. Which is the big thing. Why on earth are you passing this bill if it allows you to break an agreement that you've already signed up to? Doesn't make sense, unless this was just their plan all along. They basically knew, well, we're not going to get the Brexit we want, so let's pass laws to make sure that we get the Brexit that we want, which is this no-deal disaster zone area, which they are baying for. But there you go. So a compromise was reached in the Commons to head off a Tory backbench rebellion, which gave MPs a vote before to give the MPs a vote before the powers can actually be used, and it has been dismissed by some peers. Speaking in support of the amendment, Liberal Democrat peer Lord Fox said, "We all know this bill is illegal, and we know it flouts important constitutional issues and threatens devolution. More than that, we know that it has already eroded trust in our institutions, and we know that it is damaging the reputation of this country, which promotes the rule of law. Finally, and perhaps most insidiously, we know that any law that seeks to permit the executive to break laws is morally wrong." So, referring to the egregious clauses in the bill, Labour frontbencher Lord Stevenson of Balmarca argued that the government's pre-emptive action has placed the United Kingdom in the wrong and damaged Britain's international reputation as a defender of the rule of law. He added, "When the history of these troubled months comes to be written, it will not be kind to the current Prime Minister and his cabinet," which it won't in any way, shape or form. We can guarantee that now. So, what really happens here? As I say, it's some sort of difficult to see where it goes, because obviously now you've got, again, this clause that was put in to try and head off this parliamentary rebellion, which doesn't really solve anything because of Boris's massive majority, and especially all those Brexiteers that are in there. It's very clear that even with, unless there is a significant, and we're talking a significant rebellion, we're talking at least over half, at least like 60% of the Tories or more rebelling to actually put a stop to any of those laws being broken, which again, it does worry incredibly, because you've got a minister going, "Yes, I'm going to break the law, which I know I'm breaking the law, so now I'm going to go to Parliament to see if it's okay to break the law." That is the bizarre, that is the situation we are in, but it's just unbelievable. Where do we go from here? Who knows? It is most likely, as he said, going to be a massive game of parliamentary ping pong, which the Lords will very clearly, unless those clauses that allow the government to break the law are removed or are just gotten rid of, there is no chance of that passing the second house, which basically means that the Brexiteers aren't going to do it, which could open up the possible road for Johnson and co. trying to do what is called a parliamentary is it parliamentary prerogative? I'm trying to remember what the term is now. But essentially, if they want to pass the bill and basically bypass the Lords, they potentially might do, but I believe they have to have an absolute majority in the House of Commons. I think they have to have at least like a 80, there's like I think it's like a 75%, 80% backing or something to be able to do it, to be able to bypass the Lords and get the bill passed through. Will they try and do it? I don't know. It's entirely possible that they might try that route. If they do, then I suspect you will probably see a significant rebellion from these senior Tories that have already said that they aren't going to back it. We also need, because one of the big things that happened, especially during that first voting of the bill through the Commons, was that a lot of, especially the new Tory MPs, rather than actually vote for it, decided that they were going to abstain, meaning that they weren't voting for it either way, meaning that essentially they were just allowing the bill to pass without really having a significant say. And to them, I call them absolute cowards, because you actually have to come down on a side on this issue. You are either against Parliament passing a bill that will allow ministers to break the law, or you are fine with that. You can't really sit on the fence on this issue, guys. I'm sorry, it's either you're for or you're against it. You can't really fence it on this issue. So, as I said, it comes down to a game of possible parliamentary ping pong. Will Boris use his powers to try and bypass the Lords? It's possible, but we'll have to wait and see on this. So, with that said, Thanks for watching. Do hit that like and share button. Down below there are links to my Patreon page as well as a one-off donation link should you like to support the channel in that way. And of course, thank you very much to the people that do support my channel in that way. Your support is very, very much appreciated. And of course, see you all next time.